Hello and welcome back. So today we are going to start building this beautiful e-commerce here for our beauty store. So we are going to look at the parts that we are going to create. So if I come here to the code, you can be able to see that we have our front end, we have our background services, we have our backend, and we have admin. I want to explain each and every part here so that you understand how the parts are going to work before even we start coding this application, because this is very important and you should not skip this part because you'll be able to understand how this whole system is working. So I'm going to come here to Exadi Draw. So I'm going to open this page here, and I'm going to draw and demonstrate how these parts are going to work. So I'm going to take this part here, and this part we are going to call it front end. I'm going to have another part here. This part I'm going to have it here. I'm going also to have another part here. This part I'm going to have it here, and I think I can select this part, or let me just select this part here. So like that. Also I'm going to have another part here also. Let me add it here like that. So I want to name this part, so I'm going to take in like this part here. This one will be just front end. Let me call it front end. So this also is our backend here. So let me just remove this first of all. So let me remove this. Let me erase it. So this is my eraser here. So I'm going to erase it, and right now I want to write. So I'm going to add here, this is backend like that. And then I'm going to have also here, I'm going to have my this part here, which is my background services. And you can see background services here is different from our backend, because it's a backend but it has a work that it should do. So also here I'm going to write this is admin. So this is admin dashboard or admin. Then there's something else that I forgot, and this is our database. So I'm going to add a database here. So you can see we have a very big part of this application. So this is database, and of course we are going to use Mongo. So this is database, this is our backend, this is our background services. We have our admin here, and we have our front end. So we are going to fetch the data here from the backend here using our front end, and also we are going to have also like to fetch to just receive the data from our backend here from our to our front end. Also the other thing is that also we are going to use backend here to fetch the data and also receive the data from the backend like that. So the other thing is also we are going to have let me have this arrow here. We are going also to interact to get the data from our database using our background services, and also we are going to receive the data from our database to our background services. So here we have our admin. So what admin should do, so let me actually push this admin here to this part, but even I can just leave it like that. And also for our admin here, the admin should be able to get the data from our backend, and the same, he should receive the data from our backend. So like that. So the other thing that I want you to notice is that in our background services, our background services is kind of independent from the other three parts, from the backend, from the admin, and from the front end here. And this is because the work of background services is to keep running, and we are going to set it to run at a specific time so that we can do various tasks. For example, in background services, we are going to have a service that will be checking the database, an order that has been newly created that has a status of 0, and then it will be able to send that order to the email of that person who have ordered those product or that product. And then also we are going to have another service, and this service will be running after maybe after once in a week or once in a month, and it will be actually grabbing 5 random products from the database and then sending to the emails of those as users that we have in our system. So that is like a promotional emails, and I'm sure you have seen such a functionality in other e-commerce. So also we are going to have a service to run or to send a welcome email to a newly created user. So that is the work of background services. Also, of course, we are going to have other services. So right now I have only mentioned 3 services that we are going to have in our background services, and the last one will be for sending an email to the person who have ordered a product if their order has been delivered. So those are the services of background services here. For the front end, it is like easier because it is like authentication and also things like CRUD operations to update, to delete, and maybe other things like that. The same for the admin here. So you can see front end and admin here, they are sharing backend, but background services is only having to interact with the database. So we have backend and background services are the only services that are actually using our database here. So I'm hoping that you understand, that you are understanding, and if you are not understanding, you can replay this video and you'll be able to understand. Also, you'll be able to understand more when we are creating our system. So here I want to start creating now this project, and I want to know, because this is a very big project, I want to know where to start. So in my case here, I start by looking at backend here. I start by backend, and then we are going to proceed to background services, and then we are going to proceed to frontend, and then the last admin dashboard, and then we start integrating all these parts. So I'm going to take this part here and add here. We are going to start with our backend like that. So the first part that we are going to start here is our backend, and I'm going to take this line here and cancel the backend, meaning that this is the one that we are working, and also we are going to arrange everything here. So let's do that. So I'm going to create a new folder in my documents, so because that's where I want my project to be. So if you have Linux, you can choose where you want your project to be, and I'm hoping that you have VS Code and already you have installed Node.js, because those are things that you are going to require in this project. So here I'm going to actually make sure that I create a new folder. So I'm going to use this command here, mkdir, and this is to create a new folder. So for this one, I'm going to call it e-commerce. So e-commerce, let me call it e-commerce store. I think this one will be fine. E-commerce store, like e-commerce store, or I can say e-commerce beauty store, like that. And then if I create this folder here like that, let me cd into e-commerce like that, this folder here. And what I can do is that I can just open now the code like that. So I can open now actually I can use the VS Code. So to open the VS Code inside this folder, you can do code and then dot and then can enter, and then we are going to open now the VS Code inside that folder, and you can see now this folder is empty because I want us to start building this system from scratch. So I'm going to open this folder like that. I'm going to just close everything that we don't need. Also, I want to close this project here because this project now, we are not going to actually need it right now because we are going to create from backend now. So now we have now this part where we need to have all those 4 parts. But before that, if you are seeing that my VS Code is a bit different, this is because I have already added some extensions that I think can be of help to you. So you need to come here and you can look for Firefly Pro. This is a theme that I'm using in my in this VS Code. So this one here, you can be able to install it and it will give you a different look. So another thing or another extension that I want you to, if you haven't installed, to install is this prettier code formatter, because this will help us to format our code. And also you can look for prettier ESLint here. So you can install those extensions. And I think also the other one that you can install is ES7 React Redux, this one here. So others we can be able to install them as we go. So I'm going back to my code here, and I'm going to create now the folder. So I'm going to have the backend here. I'm going to have also background services. So background services here. I'm going to have a front end. So let's have a front end here. And we are going to have now admin. So admin dashboard, or just admin, like that. So now I want to start from now our backend. So I'm going to open the terminal here. So this is my terminal, and I'm going to just push this up here. I'm going to close this console debug, also the output, and now we have this terminal here. So I'm going to clear everything, and then I'm going to navigate to my backend here, like that, clear everything. And now inside here, this is where I want to initialize node application. So to initialize node application, I'm going to use npm and then init -y, like that. And I want you to notice something. Right now in this folder, it is empty, but when I run this command, it will generate a file that is called package.json. So I'm going to click enter, and after some time, you'll be able to see that a new file has been created, and you can already see here that we have that file. And when you open here, you can see package.json, and this is the file that will give us information like the dependencies that we have installed and also other things. I'm going to show you how we are going to use it. So I'm going to clear everything, and here I'm going to actually install some, I want to install some packages that we are going to require. For example, I'm going to, let me actually make sure that this VS Code is zoomed in a little bit. Oh, I think that is a good size. So here I want to add something like, let's say something like, or packages like Express, because we are going to use Express. I'm going to install .env. I'm going to install CORS. Also, I'm going to install Mongoose. I'm going to actually install also Express async, I think async handler, because I don't want us to use try catch everywhere. We are going to use Express async handler. And also other thing that we can add here is I think also we need to add I think we can start with this. I think so. Others we are going to install as we go, and let us actually install those. Inside here, I'm going to enter or I'm going to add this index.js as our entry file and our entry point for our server. So this one, we have index.js, and because most tutorial in the YouTube, you see they only have this index.js. They don't have other file inside here. So I'm going to add another file here that is called app.js, and you are going to see the importance of that. So we have app.js and we have index.js. So another thing that I want you to notice is that you can see right now, because we have installed packages, we have generated this folder that is called node_modules, and this is where our packages have been installed. So, and let me open or just push this up like that. And also now inside here we can start creating our server. So, and then inside here you can see now we have dependencies, and all our packages have been listed here, or the packages that we have installed. So now let's go to the app here. So what I'm going to do is to initialize my application. So I'm going to add here, or to import app, and then actually not app, this is express, and we are going to require or import. This is how you import express, like that. And then you can see how you can be able to use to import, but this is common JS, and I don't want to use this format for importing packages in my Node.js. I want us to use another type that is called modules, ES. So I'm going to come to the package.json, and up here after description I'm going to add type. You can see we actually have type, and right now because we are using common JS here, I'm going to select module like that, so that we can be able now to use import format of importing. So here I'm going to change this now, and we can import now express, and from we are going to import from express like that. So I'm going to change that. You can see this will be very simple, because this is also the format that we use in our front end, so it will be easier for us. So I'm going to have app here, to have app from express, we call that a function like that. And then what I want from here is I want to export now this app to use in index.js. So I'm going to come here, and I'm going to add export. So if I used common JS and I was using common JS, I would have used module.export like that, and then be able to actually maybe import it up like that. But right now we can use something like export default, and then we can just export now the app like that. You can see how simple it is. So I will save that, and in here now I can import that app here. I want to separate concerns, because I don't want everything to be here in the index.js, things like routes and other things. So here I'm going to have now from the app like that, and because we are using module, we cannot leave it like that. I know this would make sense if we were using require and we are using common JS, but for module it will have error. So I'm going to add .js. So you need to add extension here, like .js if you are using this module type. So I'm going to save that, and in here I can say I want to create server. So my server right here. So we are going to use app and .reason. Here we are going to add the port number here. For example, you can have port 8000, and also we can have this now, the callback function here. So this one we are going to have console.log, and then inside here I want us to have server is running on port, and then we indicate the port that our server is running on here. So like maybe 8000 like that. So if I do this and then save, come back to my backend here, I'm going to use node and then index here. You can be able to see that server is running on port 8000 like that. But right now I don't want to do that. actually I want to first of all use NodeMon, and because NodeMon will be able to check our code, it will be able to check for our code for any changes, and then it will be able to rerun my application. And that is what I want. I don't want every time that I do the changes, I come here and save, and then I stop my server, and then I also restart my server. I don't want that. I want to just code, and then the NodeMon here will be able to watch my code and also rerun my code. So here I want you to install NodeMon if you have not installed NodeMon globally. So you can just come here and search for NodeMon install globally. You can be able to see this one here, and you can be able to install NodeMon globally so that you don't need to install it every time that you actually creating a new project. So if I come back here, you can be able to, you can be able to install NodeMon globally. So you can pick this command here, and also you come to the VS Code here and add it. So you can be able to install it here, or even in this terminal here, you can be able to add it like that and then install. And that means that you'll have a NodeMon globally, which is very, very nice. So here I'm going to actually restart my server. It's running on port 8000, and here I don't want to have my port here displayed. I want to hide my port number in .env file. So I'm going to create a .env file here like that, and I'm going to have this variable called port, and I'm going to specify now the port number inside here. I'm going now to come to this index here, and then I'm going first of all to import .env, because this one will help us to be able it will be able to help us to use the .env file. So you can see it here. So you need to import it, and the other thing that you need to do is to configure. So you can call the function .config like that, save that, and here we can be able to have the port. So I'm going to have the port, since we have now configured our .env and we have imported it, we can be able to use process.env and then .port like that. So you can be able to see it like that. You can be able to use it like that. And then now here we can be able to specify the port. And also here we need to specify the port. And that will be very easy. So if I do that, save that, and you'll be able to see that you have server is running on port 8000 here and things like that. So here, I think for index.js, we have added now, we have added our server. So the other thing that we are going to add here is our database. So to connect to our database, but let's first of all add other things here. So here I want to first of all make sure that I add JSON body. So I'm going to have JSON body here. So to do that, we need to just do express dot JSON like that, call that function, call JSON. Also, the other thing that I want to add here is we are going to have course. So we are going to accept course here. So this one will be just, let me import course. So I'm going to import course, and this one will be, we are going to import course here like that. And here there is something that I forgot. We need to actually add it at a middleware. So we can have a middleware by using app.use, and we add now express inside here. Also, we need to have app.use, and here we can call course like that. So, and because this is why we need to have app.js, because I don't want us to have everything listed here in index, because you see most of tutorials, this code that we have here, it would have inside here in our index.js. I don't want that. So here we are going to have also other parts like routes. We are going to specify our routes here and many other things. So now the other thing that I want us to do, let me also add here a DB. So DB here, we are going to have DB, which is our database URL. So I'm going to save this, and inside here in our backend, we are going to have another folder that is called util. So util here, and inside our util here, we are going to have db.js. This is where we are going to have the function to actually connect to our database. So let's now create our database in MongoDB. So let's come to MongoDB. I'm going to close this, and I think also I can close that. So I can visit MongoDB website. I'm going to use MongoDB in the MongoDB website because I don't want to install MongoDB in my computer, but you can do that. You can install MongoDB locally and use it, and it is the same. It will be just the same. So here we have my account. So if you don't have any account for MongoDB, you can do that. You can create first of all MongoDB. Yeah, I have several accounts that I can use. So I'm going to actually log in. So let me log in here, and I'm going to create now the database in this MongoDB here. So it is still loading here. So let me click on this part here that we have project, and I can create another project. So I'm going to click on new project here, and in the new project we are going to call it beauty or beauty store. So let me have as beauty store. So beauty store, like that, or e-commerce. Let me call it e-commerce beauty store. I want it to have lowercase. So this is beauty store, e-commerce beauty store. And here I can add as an application. You can click on next, and I'm going to actually select the person who owns, but actually you can see that it has already selected. I'm going to create the project here. I want you to go with me step by step so that you are not left behind. So it is loading here. I want it to create now the cluster. So you can see it is the one that is selected here. And I want to create a cluster here. So click on create cluster. I'm going to actually select, you can see by default it will select this one that will require you to pay. For example, this one charges $0.09 an hour. And for now, because this is a testing software and application, it is not something that you are deploying. I'm going to select this this cluster that is free, and you can see they are very generous in terms of storage, the RAM and vCPU. So this storage is very big, and before you actually be able to finish this storage, you have stored a lot of data, and most of you not be able to even come close to have this 502 MB worth of data. So I'm going to create now the deployment. So create deployment here. You can see the server is in Berlin, and also it's AWS. So here you can add like user. So because I'm going to connect using my user, and also the password, I'm going to add it here. So my username and password is James, and also I can be able to choose a method, or let me first of all create the user. Okay, don't want to do that. So choose a connection method. So the connection method for me here will be just the driver, and you can see now this is the URL that we are going to have. So I'm going to come here, and in my DB here in .env, I'm going to add that, and you can see even the we have the user added here, the username James, and also the password James here. So I'm going to save that, come back to this MongoDB, and then I'm going to click on done like that. And I think now it has been, or already we have also created our MongoDB here. So now the other thing that I want you to do is that let me try and add data here, because this is created by application. Let me see the instruction here, like that. My own app, connect via app. I think that's okay. That's done. So I think that's okay. It's done. Another thing that I want you to do is to come here to the network, and because here you'd see my IP address already has been added, you can add another IP address here. So this IP address is 0.0.0.0 and then /32. And this one here is because I want it to connect from anywhere. So I'm going to click on that, and you can see this one is access from anywhere. So it is being added here. So it is still pending right here. And after that, you can see we can now access from anywhere, so or anywhere, or my IP address. But when you're going to deployment, please, you need to delete this connect from anywhere, and you are going to only allow the IP address of your application, so that you prevent some serious security issues. So I'm going to database right here. And for database right now, you can see cluster 0 is ready to use, and monitoring will be available very soon. We don't have any data here, so if you want to know also how to connect, you can come here and choose the driver again, or you can use Compass, Shell. There are so many other ways. You can even use MongoDB for VS Code. So I'm going to close that, and we can come here now to our db.js, and I'm going to create now my function to connect to DB. And because we are using Mongoose to be able to connect, so I'm going to import Mongoose here. So from Mongoose, so like that, I'm going to also again, I'm going to import .env, .env from, let me add here, .env like that, and we can configure. So .env.config, let's call this function. And then the other thing is I can create a function here that is called, let me have const, and then db connection. Let me call it db connection here, and we can have this as a, let's have it as a call narrow function. And then after that, I can export this db connection. This will be default, and then db connection like that. And then here I can be able to add async, because this will be a asynchronous function. Inside here, we are going to have a try catch. So if we have error, the error will be displayed here. We are going to have console.log right here. We are going to actually console log our error, and also after we console log error, we are going to use set timeout here, and we are going to specify the time. Or first of all, we need to call the callback function, and our callback function here will be just this function here, and we want to call it after 5,000. So that means that when the connection fails, then it will console log the error, and then it will actually pause for 5,000 seconds and then call this function again, so that if the database fails, then that means that it can also call the database and countless time. It will just pause for 5,000 seconds and then try to connect again with our database. So another thing is now to try and connect to our DB, of which now it will be easy. We are going to have a wait, and then we can say MongoDB, a mongoose, sorry, and then we are going to call a function called connect, and here we are going to have the our database. So it is process.env.port, like that, and then here we can use .then, and then if then let me just go back here. So we have callback function inside here now. So .then, that means that we can connect now. We have connected to our database successfully. So here I'm going to console log, and we can add now the information that we want. So we can say something database is connected successfully, something of the sort, like that. So you can see how simple it will be. So I'm going to save and format my code like that, and I don't like to call this direct here. I'm going to create a function or a variable here for the DB. So the DB like that, and then have it like that, and then now inside here we can just call db like that. So I think I can save this, and I want now to call this function in my index.js here, after I have created now this what we are calling server. After that, we can call now db connection. So you can see actually we can auto complete for us or for ourselves, and we can call that function here and try to connect to our database. So I'm hoping that it will be able to connect to our database successfully. And you can see here we need to add .js here, because this one will you need, for when you're using this import here, you need to also add the extension. So I'm going to save this, and let's see down here if it will connect. So our server is running successfully. You can see that we have an error here. So it is asking where the error is. Unexpected connection to start with MongoDB or Mongo something. So yes, it is telling us that Mongo pass invalid scheme, expected connection string to start with Mongo's, and then you can see that I think this URL is not the one that it should be. So let me I think we cannot be able to access it like that. So let me try and console log this db here. So let me do that, console.log and then db, so that we see if we can be able to see the URL. So let me, actually it's db, it's a db like that. So let me save that and come back here. So it is we have error here. So I think we are not able to get the URL. So let me try again here. Let me remove this error first of all, so that we can be able to see the URL if we have the URL. So save that, and you can see 8,000 here. So this is 8,000. It is actually displaying 8,000, which I think it is not the one that we should connect to. So I think it's a different thing that, oh, actually I have seen where the error is coming from. Here it should be db. It should not be it should not be the port we are connecting to bad variable here, and you can see when it fails after 5 seconds, after 5,000 seconds, it is calling this function here. That's why you can see it is printing here. So I think that is my mistake, sorry. So if I save this, and let me paste now that code there. So I'm going to remove that, and when I save again, you'll be able to see that it will connect successfully now. Yeah, you can see database is connected successfully. So sorry for that. I didn't notice that I called the variable uh, that is not the variable that I wanted. So I'm going to save that, and here, because we have prettier, you can be able to right click and format document here, can be able to do that. So I'm going to close this, and right now, because we have connected to our database, then it's actually we can proceed to other part. So I can go back to this drawing, and then I'm going to cancel also my database, because now I have connected to my database. So we are going to continue now in our backend here in the next video. So kindly remember to subscribe to this YouTube channel and also like this video, and don't forget to turn on the notification bell, because you'll be notified the next time I upload the next video in this series. So see you in the other video. Have a great day.